Today's Morning Coffee Vinyl Side, Eddie Cochran, the Eddie Cochran Memorial Album, 1960. Eddie Cochran was one of the few early American rock and rollers that was known for writing and performing his own material. And like his friend and contemporary Buddy Holly, he had a real love and fascination for studio recording, even working as a studio gun for hire when the producers of the day wanted that particular kind of energy that only early rock guitar could deliver. Considered an early rockabilly artist, the Minnesota-born Cochran leaned more towards the blues than country. When singing in the lower registers of his range as a baritone, he produced a vocal sound reminiscent of Elvis, but it was really his high-energy tenor range on hit songs like Summertime Blues and Come On Everybody, channeling Little Richard instead of Elvis, that helped create the blueprint that future rock and rollers would pick up and follow. Deeply affected by the deaths of Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and J.P. the Big Bopper Richardson, Cochran was haunted by the idea that he too would suffer a premature death. And the risks were real, considering the dubious nature of transportation and public safety back in the day. Yet financial necessity led to a decision to tour the UK in 1960, where he was killed in a single-car automobile accident while traveling between gigs in a taxi. Eddie also has the distinction of being an artist who had a considerable amount of music posthumously released after his death, and albums like this explicit memorial album were de rigueur at the time. Cashing in really was a shameless act. Eddie's death in the UK cemented his legend there, and his influence on bands like the Beatles and Stones, and guitar players like Pete Townsend of The Who and Dave Edmunds is undeniable. It's no small irony that both American blues and early rock and roll, under threat by cultural forces in America and suffering injury and the loss of many of its early progenitors through early death or cultural marginalization, was incubating across the ocean as the 50s rolled into the 60s. And that it would be a wave of British bands in the form of the British invasion that would return it to American shores, stronger and more vital than ever. Long live rock and roll.